Hi, this is Michael Jones, Chairman and CEO of Caravel Concepts. Welcome to Market Insights. This is our weekly video series and report that captures the events of the past week and tries to extrapolate what they may mean for financial markets going forward. This is the first Friday of the month when the non-farm payroll is released. Normally we'd be talking about what the non-farm payroll numbers were and what they might mean for the markets. But this week's Market Insights is being filmed on Thursday because my very talented Director of Client Experience is getting married and she's spending the weekend with her bridesmaids. So,
You're not putting this in there?
Yes, we totally are putting that in there.
We're putting this part as well.
Well, that's the story of my life. No respect. No respect.
So, the next most topical event of this week has been the negotiations between Republicans and Democrats over a new COVID-19 stimulus package. Now, those of you who've been following our work know that we're calling for a potential bubble in U.S. equity markets. Part of that call is an expectation that there's going to be another right around $2 trillion stimulus package approved by Congress that will require the Federal Reserve to print another $2 trillion to fund that deficit spending. Now, the Democrats have passed a bill that calls for about $3 trillion in spending. The Republicans have proposed $1 trillion. Why are we confident that the actual bill will be closer to the Democrats' $3 trillion number than what the Republicans are comfortable with, especially since they control both the Senate and the presidency? Well, we believe that the Republicans don't have very much negotiating leverage in this particular negotiation. Right now, if nothing is passed, if no legislation is approved, about 51% of Floridians are looking at potentially being evicted from their homes. Now, all across the country, somewhere between 30 and 50% of the residents of every state are potentially looking at being evicted because they are behind on their rent, and the moratorium on evictions has run out. Why are we focusing on Florida? Because Florida is the key swing state for any Republican presidential candidate. Without Florida, it's very difficult to get enough electoral college votes to win. And Florida also happens to have the most people facing potential evictions with 51% of renters. So both because it is so critically important to Republicans and because Florida is one of the most exposed states in the country, there has to be a bill that extends the eviction moratorium. Republicans desperately need it. And Democrats in Congress know that. And that's why they have been negotiating so hard for what they want out of this package. What the Republicans want is an extension of unemployment benefits, the extraordinary unemployment benefits. Right now it's $600. The Republicans have proposed $200. They're saying they'll compromise on $400. What do you want to bet? It gets close to the Democrat at $600 because they have the leverage. The other thing the Republicans want is that extension of the eviction moratorium. Fair or not, in the run-up to a presidential election, voters tend to blame the president if legislation that is critical to them doesn't get passed. So the Democrats know that the president needs this bill. They want a big bailout for the states. And they are going to hold out until they get it, in my opinion. And that's going to mean that there will be a big compromise COVID-19 bill. We think it'll be about $2 trillion. We think that the Fed will have to inject $2 trillion into financial markets to fund it between now and about year end. And that is going to be the rocket fuel that pushes equity markets still higher. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Market Insights. We hope you found it informative. Please join us again next week.